I don't know, bro. Maybe. It low key BW watches though, cause like,
I don't know if you guys know this, but I first got my foot in the door on YouTube during the COVID Hyperpop era, where basically I'd cover the artist and also do reaction videos showing my normal friend all the weird viral Hyperpop songs.
whenever Money Machine came out, bro, holy, bro, this is like really bad for Hyperpop because they were getting hate lately, like everywhere. It's on Twitter. This is like really bad for Hyperpop. Right. Why is my quality so low, or is this dude's like camera quality like horrible? It don't
Turn it
matter.
off. Next artist.
All right. I didn't think you'd like that. We only made it 1 minute and 22 seconds through the song.
That was a move.
Not a fan.
I got pretty into this music
But was this considered like was that song that he just played? Was it considered real hyperpop? Because like I feel like whenever you look at artists like Osquin and Rab and Glaive and Curtains and uh, Dollywood and Midwest, like those are like the real hyperpop. You didn't hear?
at
We only made it 1 minute and 22 seconds through the song.
That was a move.
Not a fan.
I got pretty into
Like, was that song anywhere? I never heard that song.
this music at the time, and while I still don't think I love the super hyper type Adderall sort of music, I did have a big appreciation for the genre, and I thought
That's what I'm saying, bro.
it was a very cool time. Like, all the internet collectives and stuff popping up was very fun to see. Felt kind of like the SoundCloud era, revamped and a bit more underground. But this era only lasted a couple of years and changed a lot, with a lot of the artists all going their own ways in different directions. For some artists, they went back underground. Others toned down the hyperpop stuff and kind of merged into.
Do you remember Hive Mind? Yeah, isn't that they would review like a lot of albums. I'm pretty sure they're still huge now because they review people like Jane Remover and all the new music that's out now. But yeah, I do remember them, and like they put like a lot of people on the map. I think Quadeca is a part of Hive Mind, if I'm not wrong. He does his own music.
Other
Correct me if I'm wrong, though, in the comments, yo.
genres, and some kept
After 2021, they just gotta go. Never watched them after 2023. I'm gonna say that, and it's not even on the like offensive stuff. It's just like I don't really understand or watch it no more. Like I listen to my own music. W Sophie right there.
doing the same thing.
W Sophie, rest in peace, bro.
And after reminiscing for a while, I was sort of curious as to where a lot of these artists are today, because I haven't really kept up with a lot of them. Little disclaimer here, I know Hyperpop's been around for a long time with artists like Sophie, PC Music, or even Charlie XCX, but I'm mostly referring to like
Rest
the
in
COVID
peace,
era
bro.
of SoundCloud
Rest in
Hyperpop.
peace,
I
Sophie,
mean,
bro.
I'm sure you guys know what I mean. Also, I'm going to be looking into artists that I was like more familiar with and artists that I was a bigger fan of. I'm not going to cover everyone in this video, just like the bigger dogs. So with that being said, let's dive in. Breakins was one of my favorites from this era, and he's one of the
What do any of these people got to do with power pop? Sophie was like like a lot of flips, like a lot of remixes, and like he used to be like not like a digicore artist. So I wouldn't compare it to that, but it was a lot of EDM, electronic house music that it transferred it onto hyperpop.
few people I've
Let me stop pausing the video.
kept up with to this day. Toward the end of the era, he dropped the album Hypochondriac at the end of 2022, but then he went radio silent. On occasion, he posts songs on his alt SoundCloud and has also been doing features here and there with people like Aries and Quebec.
Because of that one remix. I do not know.
But
I
apart
don't
from
know
that,
no
it seems
trap.
like he's been MIA for the larger part of 3 years.
Bro, when are you gonna talk about? Okay,
His
you're
subreddit
talking about some
regularly has people
break-ins.
asking where he's been, but I think if I had to guess, he's just not a big social media guy and
I know
probably gearing up to
break-ins,
release
but,
something
like, bro,
soon,
this
I'd
is like the
imagine, and
mainstream
I hope.
album.
Regardless, Breakins is most likely one of the bigger artists from this era, and had he continued
Nah,
putting out
listen,
music
buddy.
following Hypochondriac, I'd
Swear
imagine
he'd always
be a bit
produce,
bigger,
like, the-
although that
I mean,
doesn't
I don't
seem
know
to be
if
his
this-
objective.
he-
Hypochondriac was very successful and very
Alright,
good,
like,
and despite a really stupid
Breakins
review
would
from
always
Anthony
produce,
Fantano
like,
that I'm still upset about to this day, I think Breakins is the GOAT, and he
Yeah, where's
followed me on
Oscar?
Instagram
Where's
too,
Hollywood? I was
which
just talking
pretty
about that.
cool.
Like, where are they
Quinn,
at?
OS Quinn,
There
OS
we
Quinn,
go.
however you want to say it. Quinn was originally one of the OG frontrunners on the hyperpop scene with her song
Can
I Don't
we
Want
get
That
a
Many Friends in
W
the first
Quinn,
place.
bro?
And
OG cover was better, by the way.
from there, I felt like she was really kind of like one of the top dogs, like I'd say big three of hyperpop back then. Since then, I think she's gone a bit more underground and has started collaborating with artists like Fear Dorian.
W for Dorian. And yeah, this is the Hyperpop GOAT. I'm not gonna lie. Like they ran literally the whole Hyperpop scene. I wouldn't say that because they wanted to lay low and change their sound, you know. And it makes sense. You gotta evolve as an artist, but like overall, there's a GOAT. Give props to her. Jades. He's like a plug-in B. He's like plug.
And honestly, I think she went with like a bit less of a hyperpop
But probably. I'd say Saturn.
sound. I mean, none of her new stuff really, I think, qualifies for hyperpop, at least the stuff I've heard. But I do think she took her sound in a really cool direction. I can't really pin down her production style to like one style because every project I've heard from her since that era sounds different. Like 2022's Quinn album, from what I remember, was a more experimental rap.
Dang, I do like a song from here. I think it's no, this is the one on Drive By Lullabies. This is the one I like from this one. It's called I don't remember, but the one I like from Drive By Lullabies was and most importantly Have Fun.
Sort of project, whereas this
That
most
is a
recent
pretty good
project
song,
with Fear
though.
Dorian is a bit more cloud rappy, if I could call it anything. Again, these are big overgeneralizations because her production style is so unique, but it's always interested me ever since Quinn came out, so it's definitely worth checking out. And like many other artists, as you'll see, she's still performing and has a solid core audience. Eric DOA. Eric DOA
Yo, that boy Santi in chat was good, bro.
had one of the funniest
W Eric DOA. I feel bad because like he's known as the low taper fade dude now.
and craziest careers following the hyperpop era. For a while, he was running with Glaive a lot, who don't worry, I'll talk about, and they did that collab album. And it seems like he took his sound more from like hyperpop
It was
music
like
to more
Euphoria, and then whenever he was Dante Red too, it was just like his craziest work.
a pop route. It was still pretty unique. Like they
He's
did
still
have
the low
unique
taper
elements
fade
in
dude,
all
though.
of
I
their
rock
songs
with him.
following this whole era, but it just was a lot less hyper. It looked like they were trying to have maybe a little more mainstream appeal. And I wasn't the hugest fan of these type of projects. Eric still had some good stuff, but it wasn't my favorite. And then he went viral for this
Dante
meme.
Red's so corny to me now. Look, see, I'm telling y'all, bro, it's the low taper fade video, bro.
Imagine if Ninja got a low taper fade.
Which was ironic because this meme got so big, and there's a
And then Ninja actually got a low taper fade, but he got like a high fade, bro.
ton of people. Like everyone was singing the song that my niche artist was creating, and it wasn't even a real
Bro, come on, bruh.
song, so it's kind of an interesting out with his last album coming out in 2024. And he definitely makes some solid music, and again has a very strong core fan
Niche
base.
artist. I had to skip it for that
Midwest
one.
was another one of
Midwest.
my favorites.
This dude, didn't he? Yo, I don't mean to point fingers, but like, didn't he beat his girlfriend? I ain't know if it was true or not, but like, bro, I remember. I think I don't know if like I seen somebody post about it, and then they DM'd him about it, and they got blocked. So, I don't know.
Favorite artist from this era, and I personally like the direction he went more than most people from this era because while I like the
For
pop
real, got
music,
songs
it
with
was
Baby
never my
Tron Jay.
favorite genre,
I swear his most popular song is like 50 million because it's.
and I enjoy
No,
the
bro,
rap side of
LY
things
beater,
because
bro. We
hyperpop
don't
was
do
kind
that
of a
around
mix of,
here,
like,
bro.
rap, pop, and whatever. And it seemed like Midwest leaned into that side of the genre a bit more, especially collaborating with fellow up-and-comers at that time. If you guys remember that old SoundCloud era of like the 2020s with Cash Dami, Baby Santana, Slump Sixes, and more on his Back in Action.
Cash Domi had the biggest fall off ever after that one Rolling Loud performance whenever he showed his sky tall dress, bro. And like, bro, and like they said that he had mouth breather neck too, bro. That was bad, bro.
Collaborating 20s with all the big Cash Dami, Baby Santana, Slump Sixes, and more.
And some sixes like don't even be doing nothing no more. And Baby Santana's like the only decent one, like the only good one, basically.
On his Back in Action 2 project. I was a big fan of that era coming up along with the hyperpop era, so seeing those two come together,
That era
really
was
cool to see
crazy,
for
though,
me.
I'm not
He
gonna lie.
was still doing some like hyperpop type shit at this time too, but eventually he locked in collabs with artists like Babytron, Denzel Curry, and Dro Kenji, which kind of made his direction seem a little more clear. I still gotta listen to his latest project, Archangel, but he was always one of my favorite evolutions from this era, and to this day he still has a strong core fan base and is touring. One thing you'll notice about the artists from this era that I'm covering is that they're all still touring, making music, and they all still have strong core fan bases, and that's mostly because they were some of the biggest artists from this era and they retained strong audiences that have allowed them to continue continue living off their music. The only people I'd really say like seem to have fallen off
that
are the
one
smaller
guy?
tier
Which
artists that just
one?
weren't as big as these guys. But most people have been able to make it work, usually just
He was
shifting
like,
genres a
"Nah,
bit rather
me,
than
bro, you
sticking to
talking
that
about
OG hyperpop
SGP
sound.
West?"
For example, Lou. I don't know if you guys remember Lou. I didn't even care to look into him for this video. He got mad at me for making a reaction and not liking his songs, so I'm not sure where Lou's at today. Glaive is probably one of the bigger artists to come from this scene. He was boys with
They saying that he dating Elisa Lee, bro. The girl that just like won the gold medal from the Olympics, bro. They be saying it's mad coincidence. Never seen a Glaive in my life. Whenever he dropped Tarkov, bro, Tarkov was so crazy, bro. I'm gonna play Tarkov after this reaction. Zusi started Nightmare with David Shoddy, right? If I'm not wrong. Or am I wrong?
Eric DOA, like I mentioned, and also briefly went more into that pop sound. But now what I'm seeing from him is he's doing a bit more of a Too Hollis type of music, if you know what I mean, like a mix of EDM and pop or whatever you want to call it. So similar to the hyperpop thing, but you know.
I don't know much about David Shoddy. What the heck? Oh, nah, you know. No, I'm tripping. I'm dead tripping. No game was so big during this time. You know, wrong. Yeah, like, see, he would make music with David Shoddy. And
You know, not quite the same, not as glitchy
then I
and
think he got done bad by David Shoddy, and then Zuzi decided to like expose him.
crazy as it was before. Bass heavy. His music was bass heavy too back in the day. And his music is solid, but I do remember this big controversy when he signed to a label and he had that
Trees. Oh yeah, he was on Trees, and he was with that one girl on the song. I'm not gonna lie, Curtis should have kept that song solo, and I think he ended up making it solo.
collab song with MGK. Everyone was mad saying he sold out the scene and wasn't bringing people with him. Although he does collaborate with Curtains a lot, if you guys remember Curtains. And
That was really the goal, though. Insignia's Manor was such a good album, bro.
so it's good he kept one connection at least. And he definitely leaned into that emo sound for a bit too. Although the MGK thing was years back and he's retained a fairly strong audience ever since signing, because when he first blew up, he was definitely one of the biggest from this scene.
See, I told y'all, bro. No, I'm not crazy.
Regardless, Glaive, of course, like everyone else, is still touring and is probably one of the more successful artists from this era, which in part, I feel like it's just he has like one of those like big fandoms, you know? He's like
Oh,
a
like
quirky kind
It's shit cool. I mean, I look-key understand the hype, but like, bro, be a lot of weirdos nowadays, bro.
of personality, like the awkwardness and everything. So that probably helps. So I'd imagine that's part of the reason why he's still so successful to this day. 100 Gangs was definitely one of the top artists from this era. They weren't quite in the same vein as a lot of the other people I'm talking about, because I think they were one of like the OGs that sort of ushered in this new wave, which is why they became some of the biggest artists from
blew
this
up
era
too.
and some of the most critically acclaimed. They've stayed pretty true to their sound, making that more experimental, weird stuff as always. And their last project was in 2023, which I thought was pretty good.
Shout out Laura Les and Dylan Brady, bro. I stopped listening to them like literally after like 1 year. They're cool though.
Oh yeah, Dumbest Girl Alive, Doritos and Fritos, Billy Knows Jamie. Those are some songs I really enjoyed. Dylan Brady, I've seen, has been doing a lot of production work for tons of random people throughout the music industry, like Skrillex, for example. And I'm not sure if Laura Les has been really doing too much production work. I know she is a producer. I haven't seen her name popping around too much, but maybe I'm just missing it. They are still touring, though, and things like that. So I'd imagine more music as a collective is on its way. And they are definitely still one of the biggest artists from
Y'all think they still be selling out shows? Cause I don't know like how many
This era.
monthly listeners they got. I'm gonna go check right now after this.
Now, coming up here, we have two interesting cases, starting off with Jane Remover. Jane Remover is definitely one of the biggest and most interesting artists to come from this era, because she hasn't really
I forgot who they used to go by. I think they used to go by Dilly Zeke or something like that.
really left the super experimental hyperpop genre, but instead has continued to evolve her sound in really interesting ways, and she's become one of the genre's leading artists. Her latest album, Revenge Seekers, has been critically acclaimed from the music nerd community, and she's got a super strong fandom, breaking out of just that original hyperpop community in a way that surprises me, kind of. Like, I'm seeing Jane Remover pop up in conversations with like opium artists and stuff like that, so it's kind of like these these niches all sort of merge.
Bro, it was only Cardi, bro. But it wasn't even sampled by Cardi.
I mean, even seeing artists like Che blow up right now, it kind of reminds me of like fusing hyperpop and rage and then like giving it a couple of years to grow. And that's what Che sounds like to me. Same with Osama Sun too. If you think about it,
WLO,
the
bro.
hyperpop niche was coming up at the same time as like that plug and beat and also rage sound. They all kind of like meshed together, and now it's just like one big underground scene, which is really cool to see. And it's kind of hard to describe her music, but she's still crushing it, and honestly it just feels like her career is beginning in a lot of ways. So I guess it is kind of cool how we're seeing all these sounds kind of combine and merge in interesting ways, and Jane Remover is definitely a good example of that. But yeah, not sure how else I'd really want to describe her career. It's kind of hard to put into words just how critically acclaimed she is unless you're kind of in the niche, you know. But someone who I always personally preferred was Underscores. Her and Jane are both artists that I think have stuck to their guns in my opinion and really carried the whole evolution of the hyperpop scene, which is ironic because they've also collaborated multiple times. Regardless, I think Underscores in particular has leaned a little more into
I think I stopped listening to hyperpop after like a year or two. I'm not trying to be rude, but I don't know what they produced, but I don't know if they were too Oscar before.
Pop music, but very similarly to Jane Remover, has been treasured in the music nerd community as an innovator, and I really enjoyed her last album, Wall Socket. I've always liked her a little more than Jane Remover's music. I don't know, it's just kind of a personal opinion, I guess, but it's hard to describe her and Jane's music in words, other than the fact that it seems like their styles have both evolved in their own ways, and their latest music seems like
he missed out on his chance, bro. Not gonna lie.
Fully flushed out ideas, or is it fleshed out? Is it flushed or fleshed? I don't know, but it seems like their music has
Eli, when we doing that studio stuff, when you go make music,
been fully realized from what it once was when they were starting out. Like I remember when they were just starting out and they were coming up in the hyperpop community. So it's crazy to see that they're as successful as they are now, and it seems like they're still only beginning. Now David Shawty wasn't a fully hyperpop artist, especially because he was doing plug and beat type stuff early on. Then he had all these collabs with Youngster Jack that were super hyperpoppy, glitch hop, whatever you want to call it, especially with the song Under Pressure that went viral on TikTok. But then for a while he was doing something I really enjoyed where he was kind of fusing the rage and hyperpop sounds together. Songs like I Ran were probably some of my favorites.
I'm busy till like Monday, buddy, bro. You can't just get on no call. What's good, Jose? What's good, bro?
From that time, and he definitely had a very weird and unique style that at times wasn't my favorite, but then sometimes it was really good. Regardless, at some point he had some allegations, and to this day I'm still not even sure what happened, what it was fully.
Bro, you know you're not busy, bro.
Or like if it was even true. But I think that really derailed his career. And then on top of that, I think he had a lot of drug issues as well. And he fell off kind of hard from his peak, especially compared to his contemporaries. So if the allegations are true, that's good to see. If they're not, then that's sad to see. I'm still not.
Well, chat, since Eli canceled on me, bro, could have told me to hop on. Oh, should I? Bro, I look you want to get on with him, though. All right, yo, Jose, sub me in real quick. After this video, I'm finna get on Fortnite. Chat, I'm getting on Fortnite after this.
Not fully sure what
mods. Eli, change my stuff to Fortnite and like 902.
it's all about. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments below what the verdict is. But yeah, sorry, David Shawty. Funeral was a tad bit smaller than a lot of the artists I've covered, but he was.
I rock with Funeral. Funeral cool though. I'd say that. Funeral was cool.
One of my favorites from this era because his music was never too hyper. He just did the pitched up vocals, but he would do a wide variety of stuff. He would do the more hyperpop type beats, the more rap or rage type beats. He would do like emo type beats, but his production and his vocal style was very unique, especially because he pitched up his vocals in like a cool way and he had a cool voice. And yeah, his production was so tough to me. Yeah, he had albums like Super Plastic, Eviscerated. I love those in the gym. Those were hard. And then he had stuff like Sicario and Remorse too, which were I think a little bit more sad if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, I really liked his stuff back in the day.
I dare stop listening to his music in like 2021.
He's still putting out music.
I still be listening to the Curtains album, but that album is a hyperpop.
And again, has a strong core audience. I also DM'd with him a little bit back in the day, and he's a pretty cool guy. So shout out to Funeral. Like I said, it seems like everyone from this era is still making music and for the most part is doing well. Of course, I didn't get to everyone in this video. I mentioned some people like Curtains. I remember there's Alden. Of course, you got Login, 50 Landing. A lot of these people are still
shout out Alden.
Releasing music or sometimes releasing music. I don't know if they're doing it full time or what, but I talked about like the biggest, my favorites from that era, and let me know who I missed and how they're doing today in the comments below and what you think about that era, because I kind of miss it. It was a good fun time, so let me know down below in the comments. See ya.
Overall, good video. He should have went into depth about the more so of like rap. What do you call it? You know, everyone basically.
He's real!